Hello, it's the weekend. You know what time it is. It's the middle of January. It's time to talk about the playoffs. This is Jasmine George. I'm your female field guide, and I want to talk about football one more week, if that's okay with you. Just like last week, we talked about the wild card, NFC, AFC. AFC American Football Conference, NFC National Football Conference. Both of those divisions, conferences, they make up the National Football League. And to be honest with you, I had a few games and I'm like, oh, they're going to win. It's going to be a snooze fest. And let me tell you something. Some of them were, and some of them, yikes. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to break down all four games. We've got two on Saturday and we've got two on Sunday. Right now I'm going to talk about the two games on Saturday. Our first game up is at 1:30 Pacific, and it's the Steelers and Ravens. This is going to be a good one. It's the battle for the AFC division. Now, all week, if anyone's been watching a little bit of ESPN, a little bit of NFL Network, and just really just the regular news, they've been talking about this matchup. These two teams have seen each other 17 times, and you know what? The Steelers have won 9 games, and the Ravens have won 8. They've been talking about defense, defense, defense. Oh my goodness. These two teams are going to kill each other on the field. That might happen. And I'll have to name a few names. One of those names is Ray Lewis. He is one of the linebackers for the Baltimore Ravens. And let me tell you something. This man is like 112 years old, but he still comes out there to play, and he's tenacious. But you know what? Have no fear. The Steelers have Troy Polamalu. He's a free safety. He's a USC Trojan. And he's actually listed as probable for the game, but, he's going to play. It's the freaking playoffs. So let's break down both the teams, and then I'll let you know kind of the 2 or 3 or even 4 players from each team to look at, and kind of the keys to victory for the matchup. Well, let's start with the offense. When it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's always the quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger. He's been known as Bathroom Ben this season. Call into the show on Sunday and we'll talk about that. So Ben Roethlisberger, he's a quarterback. He's actually a very large guy, very, very tall. But the thing that makes him unique, like I said last week, is that there's a new day and age. There's a new type of quarterback, ladies, that's here. And it's really dominating. And that's a quarterback that not only can he throw, not only can he get to his wide receivers with his arm, but he can run. And Ben Roethlisberger can make plays out of the pocket. What's the pocket? Well, there's the offensive line, and then there's the center, and the center snaps the quarterback the ball. Now, those 3 or 4 yards from the offensive line and the quarterback, that's known as the pocket. And the offensive line, they're supposed to protect the quarterback so that they can have enough time to throw to their wide receiver, their tight end, and hand it off to the running back. And, when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, their offensive line is pretty good, but you know what? They've got an even better quarterback. So Ben Roethlisberger, he's got a great arm, but that big man can truly move, okay? A few things about Big Ben is when they played last time, such a close game, low scoring. This game's going to be low scoring as well. When it comes to 2 heavy defensive teams, you're not going to get a lot of points on the board, regardless of your quarterback and your offensive weapons. And so I really think that it's going to be a low scoring game. It got so ugly, it got so physical the last matchup that Ben Roethlisberger broke his nose. Hello. And actually someone from the Baltimore Ravens actually said, yeah, I'm glad that we broke his nose and it's a physical game. That's been some controversy this week in saying, did they take it too far with regards to saying it was a good thing that a player actually got injured. But I guess we'll see, after Saturday's matchup. So we've got Big Ben. He threw for almost 3,500 yards this season. Despite he had a 4-game suspension for, what was happening with him off the field and those allegations and whatnot, the big man still came to play. And, what can you do? So Big Ben threw for almost, he had 17 touchdowns and he threw for almost 3,500 yards. Continuing with Big Ben, he's 3rd in the league with passer rating. And so the passer rating is calculated quite a few factors. Of course, how many yards, per game that the quarterback is completing. Completion rate, of course, divided by how many picks or aka interceptions that the quarterback is throwing. And so all those are calculated in a passer rating. And of course, anything over 80 or 90 is superb. And Big Ben, well, he's ranked number 3 with regards to the highest passer rating. Let's talk about his wide receiver, Mike Wallace. Essentially, someone that's been kind of on the low profile, only until these past couple of years that he's been with the Steelers. Mike Wallace had almost 1,250 yards catching, and he had 10 touchdowns this season. So Mike Wallace is ready to play. He's actually one of Big Ben's most solid wide receivers and solid weapons, and he's a bigger guy. He's taller, so he can grab the ball from Big Ben. He throws out in the air and he'll catch it. So ladies, be on the lookout. Wide receiver Mike Wallace. Also, let's not forget Rashard Mendenhall, this running back. He's a powerhouse. He's actually one of the highest rated wide receivers or running backs when it comes to fantasy. I mean, when this man gets the touchdowns, he gets the touchdowns. So he had 13 touchdowns this season. And when it comes to the playoffs, you're going to have to come and play. So when it comes to Big Ben's offensive weapons, you're going to look for wide receiver Mike Wallace, and you're going to look for running back Rashard Mendenhall. Let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens and their offense. Their quarterback, Joe Flacco, still a young guy. Like I said on last week's video, honestly, he looks like he's like 40 years old. He's kind of got that demeanor about him. And he's a cool guy, but you know what? Under pressure, and he's gone to the playoffs, a few years since he's been there, he handles it, and he handles it quite well. So Joe Flacco actually had a really good game last week as well, threw for about 300 and so yards. So he's warmed up, and he's ready to rock. When it comes to a team that is only known or widely known as being a defensive team, when a quarterback such as Joe Flacco comes in the scene, it's refreshing. And I'll tell you something else. The running back, Ray Rice, he's refreshing too. Baltimore Ravens running back Ray Rice. He's another, he's a kind of a pocket Hercules, similar to the Jaguars' Maurice Jones-Drew. He's so tiny, and he's able to bounce off defenders and get in those tiny little holes and get the touchdown. So Ray Rice is a running back. He had gee whiz, man. He had about 1,200 rushing yards, and the Baltimore Ravens, they average about 115 yards rushing per game. So definitely it's going to be hard-hitting, but for sure, look to Ray Rice, look to Joe Flacco, just in case that Steelers defense, they're plugging up the wide receivers. They're not able to get it to their guys. Look for him, look for Joe Flacco to hand it off to Ray Rice. Another wide receiver. He actually came from the Arizona Cardinals. Shout out to Jay Wright. He came from the Arizona Cardinals, and his name is Anquan Bolden. And he's made a difference in the team. He left Arizona because of contract disputes and whatnot. And well, Baltimore wanted to pay the man what he wanted, and so he was shipped from Arizona to Baltimore. And this is his first season. And you know what? He's making it happen. He had 7 touchdowns this season for almost 900 yards. He almost cracked that 1,000 yards. And he's definitely been a positive contribution for Joe Flacco. Let's talk about that crazy defense of the Baltimore Ravens. The ringleader, the captain, the inspirational leader, the man that is drinking the fountain of youth on the Baltimore Ravens team is linebacker Ray Lewis. Now, the linebacker's job, essentially, is to get to the quarterback, is to sack the quarterback, is to wrap up that running back and make sure he doesn't get past him. And that's exactly what Ray Lewis has been doing. I mean, the man's been in the league for 1,000 years, but he still plays with that tenacity. And there was a couple interviews this week that he said he's ready to hit, the Steelers in the mouth and get the party started. So, of course, please be on the lookout. He's number 52. He does a very electric and exciting kind of warm-up ritual where he's stomping on the ground, he's screaming on the air, but it definitely gets the defense and it gets the rest of the team really energized. So linebacker number 52, Ray Lewis, he's averaging at least 3 or 4 sacks a game, and he's got his game face on. He's ready to rock. Now, week 4, the Baltimore Ravens and the Steelers played each other, and it was a close game, low scoring, like I said. They won by just a field goal. So I definitely, when it comes to who I think is going to win, I think it's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben is just too big and too strong. If a play breaks down, he can run, and he's not a tiny running quarterback. He's large and in charge, and he's going to get the job done. The keys to success is, making sure that Ben Roethlisberger is contained. It's going to be pretty hard, but Ray Lewis is going to have to get to Ben Roethlisberger in order for the Baltimore Ravens to win. Keys to success for the Pittsburgh Steelers, obviously Troy Polamalu, the safety. He's going to have to be as electrifying as he usually is. He's listed as probable, but I know he's going to play. He's had some injuries over the past couple of years, but he's a beast. He's epic, and he's going to play. So it's got to be the defense doing what they said they're going to do. And you know what? Both quarterbacks, Joe Flacco, the Baltimore Ravens, and Bathroom Ben Roethlisberger, he's going to have to come into play too. I think that the Steelers are going to win. I definitely don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think the Steelers are going to win. And that's the Female Field Guide, breaking down Game 1, Saturday, January 15th. This game is at 4:30 Eastern and 1:30 Pacific time. So sleep in, get your bagels, but you know what? It's going to be game time before you know it. So that's the AFC divisional breakdown Saturday game. And I'll be breaking down some more games in a little bit. This is Gyasmine George, the Female Field Guide, signing off.